Have you ever opened your refrigerator and felt proud thinking everything's nice and fresh in here? Most of us dot rusting the fridge to keep our food safe, tasty, and lasting longer. But what if I told you that some of the everyday foods you store in, they're like potatoes, tomatoes, even honey, are losing their flavor and nutrients and sometimes even turning harmful? Today we're diving into 10 common foods you should never keep in the refrigerator, backed by science and practical wisdom. Stick around until the end, because you'll discover simple storage tips that could transform your meals, boost your health, and maybe even surprise you with how much you've been doing wrong all along. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Food number 1, potatoes. Let's kick things off with a humble yet universally adored staple: potatoes. Found in nearly every kitchen, these versatile tubers can be transformed into countless comforting dishes. Think creamy mashed potatoes, golden roasted wedges, crispy baked fries, or even a hearty potato gratin. They're the kind of food that warms the soul-evoking memories of family dinners and cozy evenings. But here's a little known pitfall many of us stumble into without realizing: storing potatoes in their refrigerator. It seems like a logical choice: keep them cold, keep them fresh, right? Not quite. This common habit is a subtle mistake that can quietly sabotage both their taste and quality. When potatoes are exposed to the chilly environment of a fridge, something unexpected happens beneath their earthy skin. The natural starches locked inside start converting into sugars at an accelerated rate. While this might sound harmless, it dramatically alters the potatoes' character. The texture turns gritty and unpleasantly grainy, while the flavor takes on an odd, almost cloying sweetness, far from the rich, savory essence you crave in a fluffy mash or a perfectly fried chip. Imagine biting into fry expecting that familiar salty crispness, only to taste something closer to a sugary snack. It's a letdown, to say the least. But the consequences go beyond mere disappointment. There's a bigger reason to rethink this storage choice: a chemical called acrylamide. When those sugar-laden potatoes hit high cooking temperatures, like the sizzling oil of a fryer or the scorching heat of an oven, this compound forms as a byproduct. Acrylamide has been researched for its potential links to certain cancers, raising red flags in scientific circles. No, don't panic. One serving of fries won't spell doom, and the risk remains under debate. Still, it's a compelling nudge to consider how even small storage decisions ripple into our health over time. Why take the chance when it's so easy to avoid? There's more to the story too. Potatoes despise moisture. Refrigerators are notoriously humid little ecosystems. That dampness seeps into the tubers, hastening spoilage and turning them soft, mushy, or downright slimy. Sometimes they even develop an off-putting smell that no amount of seasoning can mask. So what's the smarter way to keep your spuds at their best? Stash them in a cool, dark, and dry spot. Think a pantry shelf, a kitchen cupboard, or, if you're lucky, a root cellar. The key is airflow. So ditch the plastic bags that trap humidity and suffocate them. Opt instead for a breathable paper bag, a mesh sack, or a simple wicker basket. That lets them relax and stay fresh. One last pro tip: keep your potatoes far away from onions. It's tempting to toss all your root veggies together, but onions release a gas called ethylene that acts like a secret saboteur, coaxing potatoes to sprout or rot prematurely. It's a small adjustment with a big payoff. By storing potatoes right out of the fridge and in their ideal conditions, you preserve their hearty, wholesome nature, ensuring they deliver that soul-soothing comfort you love bite after bite. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you're still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Food number 2, tomatoes. Next on the list is a kitchen favorite that's technically a fruit, but feels like a vegetable in our hearts: tomatoes. Whether you're slicing them thin for a sandwich, dicing them into a vibrant salad, or simmering them into a rich sauce, tomatoes bring a burst of freshness to the table. Their juicy, sweet, tart flavor is a gift of nature. But here's the catch: storing them in their refrigerator might be robbing them of their magic. It's a widespread assumption that the fridge keeps everything fresher, longer, but for tomatoes, it's a thief in disguise stealthily stripping away their taste and vitality. Tomatoes are delicate souls. When you tuck them into the cold confines of a fridge, the low temperatures halt the natural ripening process that's responsible for their signature sweetness and succulence. Instead of deepening in flavor, they stall out, becoming dull, mealy, and lackluster. Bite into a refrigerated tomato, and you might find it feels more like a pale imitation, soft in all the wrong ways with a muted taste that leaves you longing for the sun-ripened goodness you remember. Over time, you might even wonder why store-bought tomatoes never seem to measure up. Chances are the fridge is the culprit beyond flavor. There's a nutritional angle to consider. Tomatoes are packed with lycopene, a powerful antioxidant tied to heart health and possibly even cancer prevention. Cold storage reduces those precious lycopene levels, meaning you're not getting the full benefit from every bite. As we grow older and aim to nourish our bodies wisely, little losses like that add up. Why settle for less when a simple tweak can keep both flavor and goodness intact? So how do you store tomatoes to honor their potential? Leave them on the countertop at room temperature, ideally stem side down to minimize moisture loss through the scar where the vine once clung. If they're still a touch firm, give them a few days. They'll ripen into their full, luscious glory naturally. Only when a tomato is bursting with ripeness and you can't eat it immediately should you consider the fridge as a last resort. Even then, let it warm back up to room temp before serving to coax out some of that lost flavor and texture. Done right, tomatoes stay juicy, rich, and brimming with life, perfect for elevating the meals you share with the people who matter most. Food number 3: onions. Next up, onions. Now let's turn our attention to onions, the unsung heroes of the kitchen. These pungent bulbs add depth, aroma, and a savory punch to everything from soups to stir-fries. But if you're stashing them in their refrigerator, you're setting yourself up for a few unpleasant surprises. Onions don't take kindly to the cold, damp conditions of a fridge, and their reaction proves it's a mismatch worth avoiding. Onions naturally harbor sugars and starches, much like their potato cousins. In the fridge's chilly, humid embrace, those sugars get restless, breaking down faster than they should. The result: onions lose their firm, crisp bite and turn soft, soggy, or even slimy. Hardly the texture you want when you're chopping them for a recipe. The flavor shifts too, veering into overly sweet territory, or worse, taking on a funky tang as mold creeps in. It's a far cry from the sharp, robust taste that makes onions so indispensable. Then there's the aroma factor. Onions are notorious for their potent scent, and in a fridge that smell doesn't stay contained. It seeps into everything nearby. Your butter picks up an oniony edge. Your strawberries take on a strange whiff. And even your milk might taste suspiciously savory. Imagine pouring a glass of onion-infused milk or spreading onion-scented butter on toast. Not exactly appetizing. The fix is straightforward: store whole onions in a cool, dry, well-ventilated spot away from the fridge's clutches. Skip the plastic bags that lock in moisture and in vitro. Instead, choose a basket, a paper sacker, a mesh net that lets air circulate freely. And here's a golden rule: keep onions separate from potatoes. While they might seem like natural storage buddies, potatoes emit gases that speed up onion spoilage, sparking a silent rivalry that leaves both worse off. If you've already sliced or peeled onion, the fridge becomes a viable option, but only if you wrap it tightly in plastic or seal it in an airtight container to trap that acerbic odor. With proper storage, whole onions stay fresh and flavorful, ready to elevate your cooking without turning your fridge into a scent. Battlefield food number 4: garlic. Garlic is more than just flavor. It's tradition. Finally, let's talk about garlic. A culinary cornerstone that's equal parts flavor and tradition. Whether you're mincing it for a pasta sauce, roasting it to mellow its bite, or rubbing it into a Sunday roast, garlic brings warmth and soul to the table. But pairing it with their refrigerator, that's a mismatch that dims its charm and compromises its spirit. When garlic sits in the fridge's cold embrace, it doesn't take long for it tolerable. You'll spot green shoots sprouting from the cloves, bitter little intruders that twist its bold, earthy taste into something sharp and off-putting. The cold also invites moisture, which garlic despises. That dampness can soften the cloves, encourage mold, or hasten spoilage, turning your once proud bulbs into a sad, squishy mess. Worse yet, garlic's porous nature means it soaks up surrounding odors, so it might emerge tasting faintly of last week's leftovers instead of its pure, pungent self. To keep garlic at its peak, let it breathe. Store whole bulbs in a dry, well-ventilated spot. A mesh bag, an open basket, or a simple clay pot works wonders. Airflow is garlic's ally, keeping it firm and fragrant for weeks, even months. Once you break a bulb apart, aim to use the cloves within a few days for the freshest flavor. If you chop or crush garlic ahead of time, a brief stint in the fridge is fine. Just seal it tightly to lock in its essence. A quick caution: if you ever preserve garlic in oil, refrigerate it and use it within a week. Sidestep bacterial risks like botulism. Stored right, garlic retains its fiery kick and timeless appeal, ready to weave its magic into your dishes and the memories they create. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Food number 5, avocados. Oh, the avocado. What a marvel of nature. With its velvety, buttery, flesh-vibrant green hue and a treasure trove of heart, healthy monounsaturated fats, it's no wonder this fruit has become a darling of kitchens worldwide. Picture it smeared generously across a slice of crusty toast, whirled into a frothy smoothie, with a hint of sweetness, or delicately sliced to top a crisp salad with a drizzle of olive oil. Avocados bring richness and nourishment to the table, a modern culinary icon that feels both indulgent and wholesome. But when it comes to keeping them at their peak, storage is a game of precision, and their refrigerator more often than not is a false friend. Here's the unvarnished truth. If your avocado is still firm and unripe, tucking it into the fridge is a rookie mistake. Avocados rely on a natural ripening process driven by ethylene gas, a silent alchemy that unfolds best at room temperature, say on your kitchen counter, basking in the ambient warmth. Pop an unripe avocado into the cold confines of their refrigerator and you slam the brakes on that process. What you're left with is a stubborn, rock-hard fruit that refuses to soften properly. Bite into it and you'll find it tasteless with a chalky texture. That's a far cry from the creamy delight you were expecting. Worse yet, some avocados chilled too soon develop an unpleasant rubbery consistency, or even blacken inside, trapped in a limbo where they look ripe on the outside but never truly get there. It's a betrayal of potential, plain and simple. Now let's say your avocado has reached that perfect stage of ripeness, yielding gently to a squeeze, ready to be enjoyed. Can the fridge step in as a hero here? Yes, buttonly briefly. Stashing a ripe, uncut avocado in the refrigerator can buy you a day or two, slowing the inevitable march toward overripeness. But linger too long, beyond 48 hours perhaps, and the magic starts to fade. The flesh can turn watery or stringy. Those precious healthy fats begin to degrade, and the flavor shifts from rich and nutty to sour or bland. It's a subtle decline, but one that any avocado lover will mourn. And if you've already cut into it, that's a whole new challenge. Exposed to air, the creamy green surface oxidizes, fast browning and softening into an unappetizing mush. To fight back, brush the cut side with a whisper of lemon or lime juice. Its acidity slows the oxidation dance. Then seal it tightly in an airtight container or wrap it snugly in plastic wrap. This little trick keeps it fresher and prettier for just a bit longer, preserving that luscious appeal. Want a pro tip straight from the wisdom of seasoned cooks and thrifty grandmothers? If you're impatient for that unripe avocado to soften, don't turn to gadgets or gimmicks. Nature's got you covered. Tuck it into a brown paper bag alongside an apple or banana, both of which are ethylene powerhouses. Fold the bag shut and let the gases work their quiet magic, hastening the ripening process without a hint of artificial interference. In a day or two, you'll have an avocado ready to shine. So the golden rule is this: let unripe avocados ripen naturally on the counter and chill them only when they're perfectly ripened, even then, just for a fleeting moment. That way you unlock their full potential, smooth, nutrient-packed treat that's as good for your body as it is for your soul. Food number 6, bananas. Bananas area. Gift of simplicity. A golden crescent of sweetness, soft and yielding, brimming with potassium and natural energy. They've been a staple for generations, a humble fruit that's just as at home in a kid's lunchbox as it is on a grandmother's countertop, ripening quietly beside a bowl of oranges. But if you're one of those folks who instinctively stashes bananas in the fridge to stretch their lifespan, you might be in for a lead. Town bananas, you see, are creatures of warmth, tropical souls that don't take kindly to the chill. Here's what happens when you refrigerate them. Almost overnight, their cheerful yellow skins darken to a mottled brown or inky black. At first glance, you'd swear they've gone bad, overripe, and past their prime, but slice one open and the plot thickens. The flesh inside is still firm, starchy, and stubbornly unripe. It's a bizarre paradox. The cold stalls therapeutic process mid-stride, leaving you with a banana that looks geriatric but tastes raw and underwhelming. This isn't spoilage. It's what science calls killing injury. The cold breaks down the banana's cell walls, triggering that deceptive discoloration. And even if you rescue it from the fridge and let it sit out, it never fully recovers its intended sweetness or texture. It's a disappointment masquerading as a fruit. So how do you store bananas right? Keep them at room temperature where they can ripen at their own pace, turning from green to yellow to speckled perfection. For best results, hang them on a banana hook, a simple contraption that lifts them off the counter, minimizing bruises and ensuring even airflow around each curved bunch. Is no hook handy? No worries, just set them in a bowl or on a plate. But keep them away from ethylene-heavy neighbors like apples or pears if you're hoping to slow the ripening down. Bananas produce their ethylene, so they'll ripen just fine on their terms. But what if your bananas are teetering on the edge of over-ripeness, soft, fragrant, and flecked with brown sugar spots? Resist the urge to refrigerate them. Instead, freeze them, peel the skins away. Trust me, you don't want to wrestle with frozen peels later. Slice them into rounds if you like and stash them in a freezer bag. These frosty treasures are gold for blending into smoothies, stirring into oatmeal, or baking into moist, sweet bread. Here's a trick from the old days. Mash those ripe bananas with a fork. Spoon them in Tosmal containers or ice cube trays and freeze them. You'll have instant portions ready for pancakes, muffins, or a quick snack. The key is to let bananas live their best life on the counter, breathing, ripening, and sweetening naturally until they're ready to be savored or saved for later. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video. With me, thank you for your valuable time. Food number 7. Uncut melons. There's something timeless about melons. Think of a wedge of watermelon on a scorching summer afternoon, its juice dripping down your chin, or a slice of cantaloupe at breakfast, its orange flesh glowing with promise, or even a cool chunk of honeydew after dinner. Refreshing and understated melons have graced family tables for decades. Their juicy sweetness, a quiet celebration of nature's bounty. But if you're in the habit of stowing a whole uncut melon in the refrigerator, the moment you bring it home, you might be dimming it shine both in flavor and nutrition. Here's a little-known secret. Melons don't stop ripening. Once they're plucked from the vine, left to their own devices, they continue to soften and sweeten their sugars, developing into that burst of joy you crave when you take a bite. But shove a whole melon into the fridge too early, and you hit pause on that beautiful transformation. The cold halts the sugar-building process, leaving you with a lackluster fruit, watery instead of succulent, bland instead of vibrant. Watermelons especially suffer in the chill. Their crisp, refreshing bite turns grainy and mushy as the cell structure collapses under the cold. Cantaloupes and honeydews fare no better. Their flesh grows rubbery, and that delicate sweetness fades into something forgettable. It's not just about taste either. Research has shown that melons stored at room temperature boast higher levels of antioxidants, think beta-carotene, in cantaloupe or vitamin K across the board. These compounds are warriors for your health, battling inflammation, bolstering your immune system, and keeping your cells youthful. Refrigerate a melon prematurely, and you're not just robbing it of flavor. You're sapping some of its nutritional punch. So let that uncut melon sit proudly on your counter, ripening into its full glory. Once you've sliced it open, though, that's when the fridge becomes your ally. Wrap the cut pieces tightly in plastic wrap or seal them. In an airtight container to fend off air and bacteria. Then enjoy them within 3 to 4 days for peak freshness and safety. Any longer and the texture softens too much, the flavor dulls and the risk of spoilage creeps in. The takeaway is clear. Give your whole melons the freedom to ripen naturally on the counter. Then chill the slices when it's time to digen. That way every bite is a juicy, nutrient-rich reward, a taste of summer. No matter the season. Food number 8. Bread is the heartbeat of the kitchen, one of humanity's oldest comforts, a food that carries the weight of tradition in every crusty loaf and tender slice. Whether it's a warm piece slathered with butter, a hearty sandwich stacked high for lunch, or a crisp piece of toast paired with your morning coffee, bread is a constant, a companion that fills both belly and spirit. But if you're storing your loaf in their refrigerator to keep it fresh, you might be surprised to learn you're hastening its decline rather than preserving its charm. Here's the counterintuitive reality. Refrigeration makes bread go stale faster. It sounds wrong. After all, cold air preserves so many things, but bread is different. The culprit is a process called retrogradation, where these stark molecules in bread recrystallize as they cool, transforming a soft, pliable slice into something dry, crumbly, and tough. The fridge accelerates this transformation, especially if the bread is sliced or exposed to air, turning yesterday's fresh loaf into a shadow of itself overnight. And it's not just the inside that suffers. The moisture in their refrigerator can seep into the crust, leaving it soggy and sad while the interior hardens. It's the worst of both worlds, a texture that's neither crisp nor tender, and a flavor that's lost its soul. So what's the better path? If you'll polish off your bread within a few days, store it at room temperature in a cooled spot. A bread box if you've got one, or simply in its original paper. Wrapper, a loosely sealed paper bag. This setup lets the bread breathe without drying out too fast, keeping it soft and ready to enjoy. Plastic bags work too, but they trap moisture, softening the crust over time. Fine for sandwich bread, less so for a rustic artisan loaf. If you've got more bread than you can eat before it turns, don't refrigerate. Freeze it. Slice it first if it's not already. Wrap it tightly in plastic or a freezer bag and stash it away. When the craving strikes, pop a slice in the toaster or warm it in the oven. It'll taste nearly as good as the day it was baked, with that bakery fresh aroma wafting through your kitchen. Bread has been a cornerstone of meals and memories for centuries. From the sourdoughs of San Francisco to the baguettes of Paris, with just a little care in how we store it. Keeping it at room temp for the short haul. Freezing for the long game, we can honor its legacy, savoring every slice as it was, meant to be soft, flavorful, and full of life. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Food number 9. Honey is a wonder, a golden elixir that's more than just a sweetener. It's a piece of history, a healer's remedy, a taste of the earth's quiet labor. Archaeologists have unearthed jars of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs thousands of years old, and still perfectly edible. A testament to its near-eternal nature. It's antibacterial, soothing, and endlessly versatile. Drizzled over toast, stirred into tea, or spooned straight from the jar on a restless night. But for all its resilience, honey has one simple request: don't store it in the fridge. When honey meets cold temperatures, it crystallizes at an accelerated pace. You've seen it happen. Those silky threads turn into a thick, grainy mass, sometimes hardening into a solid block. It's still safe to eat, mind you, but spreading it on a biscuit or swirling it into your chamomile becomes a chore. The texture shifts from liquid gold to something gritty, and those delicate floral notes, the whisper of lavender or the brightness of clover, start to dull beyond practicality. Refrigeration introduces a subtle risk: moisture. If the jar isn't sealed tight, the cold air can sneak in tiny droplets of condensation. And while honey's natural preservatives usually fend off trouble, excess water can tip the balance toward fermentation. It's rare, but it's a chance not worth taking when the alternative is so simple. Where does honey belong? In your cupboard or pantry at room temperature in a tightly sealed jar, away from heat and sunlight. That's it. No fuss, no fanfare. If it crystallizes over time, and it might, especially with raw honey, don't despair. Set the jar in a bowl of warm water, not boiling, lest you cook away its goodness. Stir gently, and watch it melt back into its flowing glory. Honey is a gift that asks for little and gives so much. Antioxidants, enzymes, and a sweetness that's pure and unadulterated. Treat it with the respect it deserves, and it'll sit patiently on your shelf for years, ready to brighten your mornings and soothe your evenings. A quiet miracle in every drop. Food number 10, olive oil. Olive oil is the soul of the kitchen, a liquid treasure that's been pressed from gnarled trees for millennia, cherished in Mediterranean homes where food is both sustenance and sacrament. It's more than an ingredient. It's a ritual, a thread connecting us to generations who drizzled it over bread, stirred it into stews, or used it to soothe chapped skin in the dry winter months, with its smooth, peppery bite, golden green sheen, and all wealth of heart-healthy polyphenol. Olive oil is a cornerstone of flavor and wellness. But there's one mistake too many of us make: storing it in their refrigerator thinking cold will keep it pristine. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. The logic seems sound. Cold preserves, right? But with olive oil, especially the good stuff, extra virgin, cold-pressed, unrefined, refrigeration backfires. At low temperatures, it solidifies, turning cloudy and thick, sometimes forming waxy white clumps that look alarming, like the oil's gone bad. It's not spoiled, it's just the natural fats congealing. But it's a pain to pour, cook with, or drizzle when it's half frozen. Let it warm back up, and it'll mostly recover. But repeated chilling and thawing can subtly degrade its flavor, muting that grassy fruitizing you paid for. Worse, the fridge introduces a stealthier faux condensation. If moisture creeps into the bottle from the cold air, it can mix with the oil water, ain't an oil being uneasy bedfellows, and invites spoilage, over time fostering bacteria or rancidity in a way dry storage never would. Olive oil has three sworn enemies: heat, light, and air. That fridge sidesteps heat, sure, but it doesn't shield against light, especially when you open the door, or prevent that sneaky moisture issue. So it's a net loss, a well-meaning misstep that risks quality without reward. Instead, store your olive oil in a cool, dark corner of your pantry, or a cupboard far from the stove's heat and the window's glare. A dark glass bottle or stainless steel tin is ideal, blocking light's damaging rays, and a tight cap keeps oxygen at bay, slowing oxidation. The process that turns soil rancid, done right. Olive oil stays fresh for months, even a year, retaining its aroma, color, and those antioxidants that make it a health hero. Here's a nod to the old ways. Olive oil isn't just for cooking. It's what you rub into cracked hands when the cold bites, what you pour over warm bread when friends gather, what you whisk into a soup when someone's under the weather. It's care in a bottle, simple, elemental, and generous. Give it the respect it's earned. Not a chilly exile in the fridge, but a rightful place in your kitchen where it can shine in every dish and every quiet moment it graces. So there you have it. 10 everyday foods that truly deserve a better home than your refrigerator, from creamy avocados to golden honey. Each of them carries not just flavor and nutrition, but tradition, culture, and care. And maybe that's the real message today. Food isn't just about calories or expiration dates. It's about the choices we make every day to support our well-being, our comfort, and our families. It's about slowing down, noticing the small things, and treating even the simplest items, like a loaf of bread or a bulb of garlic, with the same respect we give to something far more delicate. As we get older, we start to realize it's the little things that make the biggest difference. The way you store your food, the way you prepare a meal, the way you remember a recipe your mother is to make, or the smell of your father's Sunday breakfast. These aren't just habits, they're rituals. And when we do them with care, they nourish more than just our bodies, they feed the soul. So before you put that tomato in the fridge, or toss that onion in a drawer, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this how it was meant to be? Often the wisdom we're looking for isn't in a science lab. It's in the stories we grew up with, the way our grandparents did things, and the things we used to do before convenience got in the way of common sense. Well, there you have it, friends. 10 everyday foods that deserve a better home than your refrigerator. From creamy avocados to golden olive oil. It's amazing how small changes in how we store our food can make such a big difference in flavor, nutrition, and even our well-being. So what have you learned so far? I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below this video and tell me one thing you've learned today that you'll bring into practice in your life. Maybe it's keeping your tomatoes on the counter or giving your potatoes a cozy spot in the pantry. What's your takeaway? If you liked this video, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're all about growing wiser together, one kitchen tip at a time. Until next time, take care of your food, your home, and yourself. See you in the next one.